Сегодня ночью мы положим этому конец. Сегодня трэсле последний день для этого дьявола.
Распылим яды вторжья.
И смешиваем яды в красном вине. Добро пожаловать, Распутин. Добро пожаловать, господин Григорий Распутин.
Rasputin. You heard right, Grigory Yefimovich Rasputin. Few lives in history were as dark, as untamed, and as feared as his. By 1916, he was one of the most hated men in all of Russia. But to understand why the world came to fear and hate him, we must return to his beginnings. Rasputin grew up in a remote farming village in Siberia, living the simple life of a farmer. He worked the land, married, and raised children. Then at 28, everything changed. Religion consumed him, and he left behind his home and family to set out on a pilgrimage. From town to town, he wandered, drawing people in with his prayers and his strange magnetism. Priests, villagers, and strangers alike found themselves spellbound. Many even believed he carried the power to heal. Rasputin kept traveling across Russia, claiming he could heal the sick. By 1905, people saw him almost like a holy man. His growing fame eventually reached the royal family. The Empress of Russia called for him, hoping he could help her son, who suffered from hemophilia. Rasputin told them to stop his medicine, prayed over him, and to everyone's shock, the boy's health improved. This miracle gave Rasputin the full trust of the Empress. She became close to him, often turning to him for guidance. In only a few short years, Rasputin had risen from a poor peasant to one of the most powerful men in Russia, but his holy image hid a darker side. Rasputin drank heavily, partied, and was known for affairs with many women. By 1915, the police began secretly watching him. On February 19th, he was seen leaving a building with two women and didn't return home until 3 a.m. On March 10th, they caught him meeting a prostitute. On May 12th, he brought another woman to his flat and locked her inside until a servant released her. Almost every other day, Rasputin was seen with prostitutes or followers, drinking and singing loudly in his apartment. Yet none of this stopped his influence. His friendship with the Empress only grew stronger, and soon Rasputin was so powerful that he began influencing politics, appointing ministers and giving advice on the war itself. People across Russia were starting to turn against Rasputin. Many believed that the Tsar and the Empress were nothing more than puppets, controlled by Rasputin's corrupt influence. At first, the press wasn't allowed to report on him, but as tensions grew, some newspapers risked censorship fines just to write about Rasputin's power over Russia. All this anger finally exploded in November 1916. Politician Vladimir Purishkevich gave a speech in the Russian parliament.
Уважаемые члены, слишком долго мы молчали, пока мошенник правит нашим двором. Этот человек, окутанный обманом, отравил умы наших лидеров и опозорил Романовых. Больше нет. Влияние Распутина угрожает чести, достоинству и будущему России. Пора действовать.
No one had spoken about it so boldly before. In the audience that day sat Felix Yusupov.
Purishkevich. Я слышал твою речь сегодня.
Felix Yusupov reached out to Vladimir Purishkevich, a politician who shared the same goal. It was clear both men were ready to act. Just a week later, they met on Purishkevich's train at a nearby station. Yusupov brought along Grand Duke Dmitry Pavlovich, Dr. Lazavert, and Lieutenant Sergei Sukhotin. That night, the five men hatched a plan to lure Rasputin and kill him. Here's what they decided. At exactly 1 a.m., Yusupov would go to fetch Rasputin, driven by Dr. L, disguised as a chauffeur. Back at the palace, Dr. L would park in a way that kept Rasputin hidden from the street. Once inside, Dr. L would join the men upstairs, while Yusupov and Rasputin went down to the basement, turned into a lavish dining room. The thick walls would keep any screams or gunshots from being heard outside. During the party, Yusupov would offer Rasputin cakes and wine, all laced with powerful cyanide. If everything went as planned, Rasputin would be dead in 15 minutes. To cover their tracks, the gang would drive to Purishkevich's train, burn Rasputin's clothes, and place the car in a cargo wagon, ready to leave St. Petersburg. Then they would walk to another car, return to the crime scene, wrap Rasputin's body, drive to a nearby bridge, and throw him into the icy river, never to be seen again. But all of this depended on one thing. Rasputin had to agree to come to the palace. Yusupov came up with a plan. He pretended to have chest pains and asked Rasputin to heal him. Over the course of a month, they met several times and Yusupov gained Rasputin's trust. Rasputin, as always, insisted on meeting Yusupov's young wife, Irina. Yusupov refused, but he used it to his advantage. He told Rasputin that Irina would be hosting a party with her friends on the 29th and invited him to join. Rasputin, known for his charm with women, could not resist. The trap was set. It was a freezing night. The streets were empty and silent by 11. The wind cut through the city like a knife. At 11:15, Purishkevich stepped off his train. At 11:50, Dr. L's car appeared. Without speaking, they drove straight to the Yusupov palace. The plan said the side gates would be open, but when they arrived, they were locked. They kept driving to avoid suspicion, circled the block slowly, then came back. Purishkevich got out and walked in alone, while Dr. L waited in the car. Inside, the dining room was ready. A table with cakes, crystal glasses, and bottles of wine. Dr. L took out a small tin and grated poison into the cake cream. He poured some into the wine too. Enough to kill several men. Across the city, Rasputin was getting ready. He told his secretary he was going to Prince Yusupov's house and would be back late. At the palace, a gramophone played quiet music to make the place seem alive. Candles flickered. The trap was set. At 12:15, Yusupov and Dr. L went to fetch Rasputin. By 1 o'clock, the car returned. In the basement, the table waited. Rasputin drank the poison wine. He ate the cake. Yusupov watched. 10 minutes passed, then 20. Nothing. Uneasy, Yusupov climbed the stairs to the drawing room. The poison isn't working, he whispered. Purishkevich frowned. Be calm. It will take effect. Yusupov returned to the basement. More wine. More talk. Still nothing. The poison had failed. Yusupov's face turned pale. He rushed upstairs again. It's not working. He's still alive. Purishkevich's voice was sharp. Then what do we do now? Yusupov's eyes fell on the pistol lying on the table. Without a word, he picked it up and descended once more into the basement. Rasputin sat there, calm as ever, a faint, mocking smile on his face. Yusupov raised the gun. A single shot shattered the silence. Rasputin fell to the floor. They turned off the lights and started cleaning up. Lieutenant S put on Rasputin's coat to hide the body's absence. Then, a sound, a low groan. Rasputin was alive. He staggered across the room and ran into the courtyard. Purishkevich saw him in the dark and fired. Rasputin fell in the snow and didn't move again. It was past 3 a.m. when soldiers carried the body inside. They wrapped it, loaded it into a car, and drove out toward the Petrovsky Bridge. At the bridge, they tied weights to him and dropped his body through a hole in the ice. The river swallowed him. The men stood in silence, their breath white in the air. They thought it was over. It wasn't just a murder. It was something no one could explain. The night when even death took its time. Police began searching down the river. They quickly came across a body, Rasputin, frozen under the ice. Grand Duke Dmitri, Dr. Lazavert, and Lieutenant S eventually left Russia. Purishkevich stayed in Russia but died a few years later. Yusupov, the man who planned the murder, was exiled. They thought they had removed a threat, but the act would not save the empire.